Okay, so in today's video, what we're going to be doing is building the same graphs that we built in R a few weeks ago, and we're going to compare them to get a sense for what they look like next to each other. So the first thing we're going to do is import our data file into Tableau. So we're going to click on Excel and then click on our file, and it's, I guess, processing our request. And there we go. So now we have a preview of what our data look like in Tableau. So we'll click on Sheet 1. The first graph that we're going to build, similar to last time, is our scatter plot. Now, because we want it to be as similar as possible to what we built in R, we're going to go ahead and use the same variables. So we have emotional exhaustion here, and then we have perceived organizational support. So we're going to drag and drop those. Just like last time, we're only starting off with one data point because Tableau its default is to create some scores of your variable. So we're going to click the drop down for each of those, and we're going to change it to dimension. And so now you can see that we have quite a few data points within our scatter plot. So in addition to using the same variables, we're also going to use the same shapes within our scatter plot. So since we used triangles last time, we're going to use triangles now too. So we click shape, and then we click the shape that we want, and our circles have now turned into triangles. The last thing we're going to do here is we're going to change the title of our graph so that it's the same as what we have in had generated in R. So if we double click Sheet 1, we can now rename our scatter plot to whatever we had it named as before. So this is our finished scatter plot in Tableau. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build a bar chart. And last time I built the bar chart looking at the distribution of responses by ethnicity. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to drag ethnicity over 2 rows because we had a horizontal bar chart in R. And you can see here that basically all it's doing is telling us what the responses were within ethnicity. We don't actually have a bar chart yet. Now, in order to do that, what we need to do is drag this number of records over into columns. However, before we do that, I want to rename this number of records just so that it provides more meaning, because this is going to end up being the name of our x-axis. So so we can rename that here, and then we can drag this into columns, and we now have our bar chart. Now, ethnicity is cut off right here. If we right-click and hit Format, we can change the font size. Did that do it? Here we go. So now we can actually read all of ethnicity and not just the majority of the word. And in my bar chart, I think I had it arranged like this before. So yeah, if we want to rearrange this, you can just hold down on it and then move it wherever you want to go. And then just like before, we can double click on that and then rename it. Now, the last chart we're going to build in Tableau is going to be a histogram, which basically just shows us the distribution of our scores on a particular variable. Originally, we were supposed to be building a kernel density plot in Tableau, but if you've ever tried to do it, you know what a beast of a task that is. It involves using a lot of formulas, and sometimes the one you find online does not work. So instead, we're going to build a histogram. So I'm going to use perceived organizational support for my histogram. Let's see. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. However, you can also do it without cheating. By dropping POS into your rows, and then when you click on this here, you can, let's see, where is it? You can hit create, and then you can hit bins, which is how you get this POS total in parentheses bin. That's where that variable comes from. And then you can drop POS into rows and then click on this arrow right here and change the drop down from sum to count. So, apparently my virus protection has ended. So there you go. You all got to see that as well. So this is what our histogram looks like. And then we can rename it here, just like we did the other ones. And hit OK. So that is how we build our histogram. Now to build our kernel density plot, what we're actually going to do is we're going to go back to R. And I've already loaded up the syntax because I wanted to run it once and make sure that it was still working. So we have our syntax here. If you've seen any of the previous videos, you know exactly what we're doing. But just in case you've forgotten, here is our path where our data reside. Read.csv, that's telling R what we want it to do with this data file. We're pushing all of that into a variable called test_data. And then over here, we're telling R we want it to create a plot. Specifically, we want it to create a density plot. We're going to pull the data for the density plot from test_data. We're going to pull the variable POS_total. And the title of our plot is going to be density plot of POS scores. So we highlight, we hit run. R is thinking, and now it has given us our density plot. So that is how we create the graphs that we went over today in Tableau and R respectively.